This is Joanne Hewins from lovetoCreate.typepad.com. Today I want to show you how to make this card. It is definitely an Avid card. It takes just a little bit of time, a lot of cutting, but it is beautiful. It opens up, there's a little hole there, and there's the inside. So this card is made using the Arrange a Wreath stamp set and the Wreath Builder dies, and they are in the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. So let's get started. What we're going to need to start with is our card base. This is Blackberry Bliss. It's cut at 5.5 by 8.5. I have a score line here at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to close that. I still need to kind of match my corners and make sure everything fits. And then I'm just going to burnish that fold with my bone folder. So we're ready there. This green layer, this is Garden Green, and it is cut at 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And I went ahead and cut one of the wreaths out of this inside layer. This is just going to save me a little bit of paper, and no one will ever know that that hole is there. This is the die that I used to cut that out with. So I'll set that aside, excuse me, and we're going to glue this layer. Of course, the center is not there, so we'll just put the glue out here. And I like to kind of hold my corners diagonally and use that to place it on my card. Try to get it straight that way. And then this paper is from the In Good Taste Designer Series paper, and I have this cut at 3 3/4 by 5. And I will have the measurements on my blog post that will be linked to this video on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Now I'm going to be cutting this circle out. So, and I want to use the circle that I cut from here. So what I'm going to do is put glue just on the outsides of this one also, because I want the center free. So let me place that down. Oops. Thank goodness glue is a little bit adjustable for a few moments. Okay, so now I'm ready to cut out the circle in the center of that. And for that, I'm going to be using the layering circles, and I'm going to use this one that I have kind of laying out. So I'm going to pull in my Big Shot and do the cutting for that. I do have the cutting already done for most of the rest of the card. So probably like you, I'm eagerly awaiting the new cutting machine. Okay, so I've got my base plate, the adapter, a clear plate, my paper. I want to cut this pretty much out of the center of the card. And then my other plate. And we'll just roll that through. Now I'm going to roll it through and back just to get it closer to me, but I think I would have needed 2. And yes, that's cut all the way through. So let me move this out of the way. Okay. I'm going to bring in this old retired eraser and erase some of this grunge off of there. Probably need new plates. But I'm getting a new machine, so I don't really want to purchase those right now. Okay, we are going to put inside the card a sheet of Whisper White. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And let me glue that up. And we want to glue this circle on the inside, but we want to get it so that it's over this circle. So what I'm going to do is just place this in here. Let me put a little bit of glue on there. So I'm going to shut the card and lay this in. I kind of want to try to get it so that the grains of my circle fit the grains on the outside. I don't know that you can really tell that so much, but it's just a thing. All right, so now our circle is on the inside. Got a few little scraggly things here. That's okay, they'll come off. All right, so we are ready to decorate the card. And what I did is used, as I said, this one to cut out the garden green. I also have 2 layers cut out already of what I call the more detailed dye, this one. And I did that in mint macaron and in granny apple green. So wasn't too sure about the granny apple green with those, but after I got it together, I felt like it brought out a little something. So I was happy to have that there. So I'm going to glue these down, and I'm going to glue them just in the center. I'm going to see what I put down first here. Okay, I put down the granny apple green first. So I'm just going to take my glue and try to get a thin little line just around here. Okay, I'm going to kind of center that around this hole. So it's not going to go right to the edges of the hole. Okay, I think I've got that. And then my next layer that I did was the garden green. Okay, and I'll be honest, I'm getting a little bit of glue on my hands. But that's okay too, it'll work out. So we'll lay this one kind of on top of the other. And then we'll glue the third one on. And I think that assortment of colors just gives this wreath a really beautiful look. Oops. I was happy with how it all turned out. Okay. And so then this one we'll put, and I don't want it to be on these little detail parts to be at the same place as the granny apple green ones. So there we go. Now when that dries really good, we could fluff that up a little bit. Just fluff up some of the edges if you want, but I think I'm going to leave it like that for now. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. This Best Wishes is from the Arrange a Wreath stamp set. and I am using Blackberry Bliss ink. I'm going to stamp this kind of in the center. Yay! I always feel a little better when that comes out okay. All right, now I've already cut out most of the pieces, or I think all of the pieces that are going to go on the inside of the card. And I'm going to start with these 3 larger pieces. So I have 3 of the larger flowers. That is this die right here. And I want to put a yellow center in those. And for that, I use this little tiny circle right here. That's part of this. These dies have 21 pieces, so that's pretty substantial. So I have my little pieces here for the inside of the flowers. And about the best way I knew to do that was just to put a little bit, just a real light coloring or bit of glue on there. So let me do that on the 3 of these. And those fit perfectly. Like they planned it like that or something, huh? So there are those 3 flowers. Now I wanted these flowers to have a little bit of dimension to them. So, and I've got this on kind of a spongy sheet. This is actually just from Hobby Lobby. I wanted one that was big enough to fit my grid sheet. So I'm going to take this. This is one of the old piercer tools, but I need something with a rounded end, and I'm just going to push down. And when I do that, it makes the flower come up a little bit. Now, if you mail this, it's not going to stay like that. It'll go down a little bit, but if you're giving it in person, or this would even make a pretty frame, that would help that to stand out just a little bit in there. So I've got that done, and I'll just use this for the rest. And so I'm going to add these with a glue dot. So I'll just put one, and I'm just going to kind of spread those out on there. So I have those on. And now I'm ready to do my smaller flowers. And I'll tell you what I did with the smaller flowers. For the centers, these others were a little bit too large. So I just used some regular hole punches and punched out the centers for those. And to help glue these on, I used the new Adhesive Sheets that are in this year's catalog. All I did was, now the thing I like about this is that it already has dividers to make this into 3 smaller parts. But all I did was cut a piece and adhere it. You have to pull the layers apart and adhere the sticky part to the other side of your cardstock, and then you just go ahead and cut as usual. So I did that for these smaller flowers, and I also did it for these leaves, these little pieces of leaves here. So I think that will help everything stick a little bit better and maybe be a little bit faster. So what I did is just take these circles, and I'm sorry, I tried to get my nails done and my person was going on vacation. So, and I'm just gonna, actually, I guess it would be better to use my take your pick tool to pick those up, wouldn't it? So I'm just going to line them up on here. I think I used about 10. I don't know how many I've put on here. I think maybe I had 12 done. So we'll just stop there. And then I took these and just put them where I wanted the flowers to be. And I tried to do kind of 2 between each flower. I know that looks kind of crazy. I'm just going to go back to here. But it worked. And then I'm going to do several here. Now I've got a bow that's going to hide a little bit of this, but we'll see. I'll put one down here kind of below the bow, and I'm going to put one on the inside just right in there. Okay, so now what I need to do is get that lining off of there. I'm just going to use my tool to pick that off. And this is a little bit time consuming, but good work is worth it, right? And I'm just going to lay that on there. So I don't have to put the glue. The adhesive is on there. And I just love this product. And so I'm just going to lay those flowers on top of a center. There. Oops. I don't know that you can see really what I'm doing, but at least you're not having to watch me also cut them. So I think on the first one I might have used 10. I don't think I'm going to use that many on this one. You just do what feels right at the time. Okay, so there's that flower, and I might have gotten it a little bit high. It's sticking up a little bit more than this other one, but that's all right. And then I'm going to go ahead and add these little stems. And I'm thinking I probably should have added those before the flower. Okay. Oh, I can stick that one up a little bit. So an Avid card really isn't that hard to do if you just break it down into the little pieces. They usually do take longer. There's usually more cutting and stuff like that involved, but I think they're really worth it. Okay, our inside is done. I'm going to move all that out of the way. And pretty much the card is done except for the bow. And I think for the bow on this one, I'm just going to use my bow maker and the twine, linen thread is what it's called. And I've got it pulled pretty far apart, and I'm just going to go around these posts a bunch of times. Oops. I don't even know how many times it is. So I want a pretty thick bow. And I'm going to pull my pieces out. And then one goes over the top. And I think I'm going to pull that thread around a couple of times. That might be all I can do. And then we'll tie this off. And that just gives it maybe a little bit thicker look on the inside. This would be the front. And I didn't make this the way I made the other one. I kind of did it by hand. But I like this one too. I'm just going to add that on top of a glue dot. And kind of bend that back. And it's going to go right in here. We'll trim that just a little bit. And voila, our card is finished. It's all made. In fact, I think I like this bow better. So there you go. It's a really neat card to make. And let me pull in another one that I made using this same method, and made a Christmas card. So I thought that was quite pretty, but it's actually done exactly the same way, except I didn't cut the hole out for this one. And then let me also pull in and show you that I made 3 cards using this stamp set. This one would be a card for a beginner stamper. I did the stamp for the wreath. In fact, I put that on my Stamparatus so that it could be stamped more than once, and then added these stamps with the Blackberry Bliss and my saying on the inside. And then this card is a little bit more for the casual person. I stamped the same wreath that I did here. I added another wreath on top that I cut out, and then, oops, that one has slipped. And then I did cut out the next largest flower. So they have this big flower here. They have 2 of these that are the size I used on this card. And then we had 3 of these small ones that I used on this card. So you don't have to cut out quite as often, maybe with a few of those things. So with that one, I just cut out the center with my, I'm sorry, I noticed those have moved a little. Okay, I cut out the center with the hole punch and attached these the same way. I did put a little bit of glue on these instead of that adhesive sheet. I didn't put much. I think that's why they're slipping. And then the set has a bow on it right here. So 3 different cards, 3 different difficulties of those. This would be the beginner, and then the casual, and then the Avid. I thank you so much today for joining me. If you have any stamping needs, if you'll go to lovetocreate.typepad.com, you can get to my store from there, or also have it linked to the bottom of the video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.